drink a Bud Light, the whole Swedish bikini team may show up. I mean, that'd be one. So you got all these men thinking, oh, that'd be good, that'd be good. And the consequences remember come late, you know, and so they don't suffer the consequences. So then they're in too deep, you know. Then by the time they realize, hey, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's not working, you know. Because the world's saying, hey, you can have your house, you don't have to have a down payment, you don't get here. Whether we're talking about an exotic dancer or an exotic derivative, I promise you, the world's a Ponzi scheme. It's promising you that you can have pleasure without consequences. He's promising you can have rewards without risk. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. See, the world just says you can have this without that thing. And that's so hard for the earth. That's hard on our Adam suit. You know, it's like I got caught in a little bit of traffic this morning. You always get caught in a little bit of traffic in Dallas, but Saturday I thought I'd be a little better. But I remember when I first in private practice, I first came to Dallas in the early 80s. I was in private practice. Well, I actually been a psychological counselor for about Crucible First Dallas. And I had these guys move to Dallas, and they'd call me and they'd say, man, I need to talk. I'm stressed out. I was all stressed out. I said, what are you stressed out about? Traffic. And traffic is just stressing me out. I said, oh, traffic stressing you? It's traffic. That's it? Traffic. Traffic. I said, well, let me ask you a couple of questions. Did you know people were here when you moved here? Well, yeah, I knew. Well, you did. Let me ask you this: did you know they had cars? Well, yeah. I mean, well, did you know they drove to work? I mean, I'm trying to find out here. I mean, what am I missing? I mean, you know. Well, yeah. I said, well, let's just back up. Let's just go in a direction. I said, why did you move to Dallas? Oh man, I got a great job. Man, I got a great house. Man, my kids go to great schools. I mean, they got so much stuff to do here. I mean, man. I said, guess what? That's why everybody else moved here too. I said, guess what? You know, where'd you come from? Like Muleshoe, Texas? I mean, you know, how much traffic you got there?
I've been there. It's an actual town.
Okay.
There's not much.
Not much traffic. So you can live in Muleshoe, Texas. Won't be much traffic. I mean, there's a lot of towns in traffic. I mean, Texas, you can move to, and you don't have to worry about traffic at all. But the problem is, you can't have this without that. And that's what the world's always telling. See, the world says you can have this, you don't have to have that. Yeah, you do. You don't live in Dallas. I mean, we got a great job, great. I mean, we used to have professional football. I mean, we got great stuff here. Oh, those Cowboys. But anyway, they can just tell you what's in my life sometimes. And then here's what I'll ask these guys sometimes. I'll say, what are you thinking when you get in the car in the morning? And they'll be thinking, they'll say, well, I'm thinking I'm going to go to work. I said, was that ever happen? He said, no, that's what stresses me out. I'm in like 4 major traffic jams, 5 nuts try to cut me off. I said, why don't you tell yourself the truth? Why don't you say, I'm going to Dallas, but hey, you live in a great city, but because of that, I got to have 5 nuts, 4 traffic jams. I'm living in Dallas. Sometimes they'd call me and say, man, this is a great morning. Only 2 nuts this morning and 1 traffic jam. Wasn't that great? I said, yeah. Why? Because you realize that's the way life is, you see. You can have this without that. You know, you get people premiere, they think, oh, I'm going to have all these wonderful rewards, and it's going to be great, and do this. And you better tell them, yeah, you can have this. This one, you can have that with it. You have that with it. Because that's the thing that'll last. You can't have this without that. The Ponzi scheme of the world is always telling you that. So, life is plain and simple. So you got to teach them about these desserts. Desserts will do you in. And then, okay, these. So the next D is this. The next D, this is a big one. I spend a little time on this. This is what most of you do. Denial. That's what Christians do. We deny. Better look good than tell the truth. Smile. How's life going? Great. Yeah. Let me give you a personal illustration of that. I pastored a church for 10 years in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did. And so I remember one Sunday, had a rough Sunday, ended up riding home with my wife, leaving my car in the parking lot overnight. Okay? You need me? Okay, sure. So I'm leave my car in the parking lot overnight. come to work. My wife drops me off at work because I got my car there. 10:30, I get back. I show up at 10:30 on Monday morning because I'm the pastor. And so I'm walking in the hall. See this nice lady comes up, smiling, shakes my hand, and say, "Oh, you're such a man of God, Dr. Lowry. I mean, I'm so glad you're my pastor." My husband is working in the neighborhood, and he drove by at 6:30 this morning and saw your car already in. Even after a hard Sunday, you're here on Monday morning at 6:30. He's going to be here all week, and man, and that's just great knowing that you're here every day at 6:30. What a man of God. Now, I have a choice at that point. I can be a man of God, or I can tell the truth. But how can I let this lady down? I mean, and by the way, anytime you want to make, you think you've got to make God look good, you're headed for dysfunction. You know? But that's how we think sometimes. So I said, "Thank you. I am a man of God." And then, by the matter of fact, the first D, I almost spell out denial. The first D of denial is deception. Then I realized, wait a minute, she said her husband is going to be working in the community every day this week. Now I gotta get my car out there every morning at 6:30 to be a man of God. So E stands for energy. Now I'm using energy to cover up the problem rather than deal with the problem. Most people use more energy covering up the problem than dealing with the problem. Then N stands for negative. Now I'm getting the car there at 6:30 every morning. I'm getting in a bad mood and I'm thinking, why do I have to do this? Well, you know why. That battle axe of a lady. That lady that thinks a pastor has to be here at 6:30 even when he's over here over the weekend, what a jerkhead. What a lady. I get on my knees and thank God I didn't marry that woman. Good night. You know? So I get negative. Why? Because my tendency one is to blame too. My Adam suit. So I just start getting negative. 6:30. So D-E-N, I get negative. I stands for isolation. I start to isolate myself. Why? Because I got to get my car there at 6:30 in the morning, but I don't want to get up in the morning. See, I'm not a morning guy. You know, my wife's a morning person. We're going to God puts opposites together. She says things like, "I wish you get up to the sunrise with me." And I said, "God, we can see it scheduled about 10:30. I'm not a morning person. But now, see, I got to figure out how to. So what I do is I isolate myself so nobody will see me. I can stick my car out there after everybody leaves work. See. And then they'll see it in the morning thinking I got up in the morning. So I isolate myself because I don't want anybody to see me doing that. So I start to isolate myself. A stands for alienate. Now I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of pulling this off. So I gotta find somebody who will help me. But that person has to be in on my little lie, so to speak. So I grab a staff member and say something like, "Hey, I need your help." And the staff member says, "Oh yeah, you want to win somebody to Jesus, go to the hospital?" I said, "No, I want you to have my car here at 6:30 in the morning." He says, "What?" I said, "Look, you do it, buddy. I mean, you do your ball, you do it." So he starts, "Pastor, weird." So I start to alienate the people around me. It's like my wife said, "Why don't you play golf with George anymore?" I said, "But you play with somebody that lies and cheats and never pays the fee." She said, "No." I said, "Well, you go with George." So, we'll figure that out. So, then L stands for it lengthens the entire process. Now I'm tired. Now I'm covering. So what does that make me susceptible to? Desert, the other D. Now I want to feel better because I'm not acting better. I'm lying basically, but I'm letting everybody think I'm doing great. So then I get some kind of dessert that makes me feel better. For me, you know, I need a Snicker tonight. Make me feel better. So you just get in a vicious circle with those D's. And I think that's all of them. I got a lot of stuff in my head, but I think that's all it needs.
Look, you have to finish.
You want?
Look over the next.
Okay, any questions? Any questions? So now I'm going to kind of go, just to kind of give you some practical hints about the word, about hope. How do you do that practically? Question? Yes?
So if you want, you were talking about accountability earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you feel, how are you a great accountability partner? Without being too soft and letting them, when they ask for your help and being too hard and,
Well, you got to have, the key is realistic goals. The key is what can this person do? And that's just communication. You got to find out where they are, and then what would be the next level for this person if to get to that next short-term goal. And when you're, and we'll talk a little bit about encouragement. When you're trying to encourage people, what you're trying to do is let them know that you, and see, here's one of the keys to life. We're all sorry and no good. I mean, we all got this earth suit. And so, that's why this earth suit didn't get in heaven. The reason God came in the first place is because we couldn't do it. And so we're all totally forgiven. There's no condemnation over us in Christ. You know? So, His promises are totally unconditional. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You get into heaven. If you accepted Christ, He's the one getting you to heaven. You just ran as long as you could and He caught you. I mean, you had nothing to do with Him getting you to heaven. He did the finished work. Then you relax and realize the promises are unconditional, but His promises are conditional. You know, this is the way, you know, if you do this, this is going to happen. You know, this is the way it works. And that's why so many Christians, they come to Christ, they wonder why their life's still a mess. Why? Because they've trusted Him for eternal life, you know, which is a 6-foot hole. I mean, we all know we can't have a 6-foot hole. I mean, you got your great-great-grandmother's dead. You know, she didn't come back. You know, we can't, nobody in your family can conquer the 6-foot hole. You know, so in a sense, we know that. But here's the key. Because of our Adam suit, because we became Adam, now we think we know good and evil. We think we know more than God in some areas of life. So we trust Him for eternal life, but we trust His promises for eternal life. We don't practice His principles for a great life, you see. So an encouraging person is somebody who's trying to get this other person to realize that these are the principles that work. And you've got to figure out some way to reward your earth suit long enough so you'll see that they work. Because they don't work in the short term, they work in the long term, you see. That's why encouragement always works better than discouragement, because people are looking for, hey, I can't do this, I can't make that kind of thing. So what you have to do with them is you have to find out, essentially, let's just make it very simple. You have to find out what is the reward that they will work toward to do what they do not want to do. I promise you, you do not want to do what you have to do to be successful. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So you have to do it. See, that's, the earth suit's just backwards. If it tastes good, spit it out. I promise you. You know, it's just the way it works. So you got to figure out some discipline on how do we work this thing. So with that person, you got to find out what will they do, what they do not want to do. What's the reward we can offer them in order to do what they want to do for a long enough period of time that will become them. And that's probably a lot of step process. You know, you may have to do every week a reward to get them to the point that they can do it. If it's like an 8-week thing, it takes 8 weeks to get it to be them. It takes that. Because, I hate to tell you this too, this is kind of discouraging, but even after you do it, remember, under pressure, sometimes you regress. Life is never, it's usually never cold turkey, it's warm turkey. You know, it's just slow process. Now, I will drink, I promise you today, I'll probably have one Diet Coke. And I can't promise you next week there won't be a day where I Coke out. You know what I mean? But guess what? Then I just start over. And then that's good to have somebody that's encouraging enough to say, see, my wife, and she knows sometimes I just Coke out, you know. And she doesn't say, when we get back to the room or whatever, you've had too many Cokes a day, because they just go drink another one. You know? look good. I'm married this woman. She'd say, you've really been doing good. And every now and then we're just going to mess up. We messed up. We just start back again tomorrow. What a good reward you for. What a good, how do we do it? And that's the way I do with her. That's, hey, everybody has a bad day. And the good thing is, most of the time we don't have bad days together. Now, sometimes we do. Sometimes we just, there's a place called, I'll tell you my vices, I think you tell me years later, mellow mushroom. Anybody eaten a mellow mushroom? They're great pizzas. And so we got this, we do, and it's not too bad because I don't eat meat with it. I do pineapple, feta cheese, artichokes, and black olives. And we make them as thick as you can, but as lightly baked as you can. And that's when we really just want to splurge. You got to have splurges. Remember everything in moderation. But then don't beat yourself up, and don't beat the person you're trying to encourage when they mess up. I promise you, your earthquake is coming. Remember, that's why Jesus came, because you're going to always mess up. He said his best so you could rest. When you mess up, you get grace. And grace, I promise you, grace motivates more than guilt. Churches don't believe that. But grace. Let me just give you a personal example of that. Of course, I'm on the road all the time. I'm always, they get to these places, they want me to eat dessert. So I've been on the road probably about 2 years. I was in North Carolina. I did a banquet in North Carolina. And they had, cheesecake is probably one of my, they had cheesecake with those like pecans with little syrupy pecans on top of it. And I was sitting down there, they were putting all this stuff down. And there's a pastor that I know a lot of pastors, he was at my table, and he said, man, you put on some weight, ain't you? And this road's pretty good for you. I made a few jokes, and I had to put on a few pounds, I thought. And so I thought, man. And you would think that would keep me from eating the cheesecake. But guess what? It was just the opposite. I felt bad, and I thought, oh man, you're not doing good. What's the use? Now, here's why I remember that. The very next night, remember I speak all the time, I flew from North Carolina, I flew to do a banquet in Austin, Texas. And I was the MC, and it was kind of a roast. A guy was retired that all these pastors know. So there's a lot of pastors there. Sitting beside me was Jack Rowe, who pastors the president of the church here. And I wrote Jack. So Jack sat down, and I already noticed we're having the same cheesecake. Not the same one, but it's the one with the pecan. So I know how good it is. I already just had it. And Jack said this, man, looking great, man. On the road, I know how tough it is. People serve you stuff like this all the time. But you're looking good. Guess what? I didn't eat cheesecake. Why? Because I didn't feel I needed it. I was confident. I didn't need comfort. I had confidence. You see, that I was doing good. See? And that's grace. See, grace always motivates more than guilt. You see, and that's how you help people. You understand that concept when you're working with them. Okay. Good question. Took another 10, 15 minutes. Any other questions? Yes? You don't think, that's a lot of people don't, because here's what we're taught.
What was the question?
The question was, what if you don't think about she has trouble identifying her rewards. Okay, most Christians do that. Here's why we're taught guilt at church. Most of us that all the worldly stuff is sinful. The Bible doesn't say that at all. The Bible says everything in moderation. The Bible says everything was made for you in moderation. The Bible said even the Sunday was made for you. Have stinking fun on the Sunday. Jesus had so much fun. the religious people got mad at him. I mean, just think of what Jesus did. How he started his ministry. What did he do? Anybody remember? Crusade, all night, prayer. Went to a stinking party. Didn't share the 4 spiritual laws with anybody. I mean, just had fun. Just had fun. See, here's what, this will offend some of you. What we've done, most people have become church people. Yeah. And the church, we built up all these traditions, all this stuff. I mean, I grew up in that. I mean, I remember I lived at the stinking church. So I've worked through all that. I believe when Jesus went around healing, doing miracles, and cast out deacons. So I'm going to But because of that, especially church people, we have a hard time. For one thing, having fun. I mean, the Bible says the joy of the Lord is our strength. Most churches could whip a sick rabbit if that's the joy of the Lord. So one thing, you just got to change your mind. That God has given you all things to enjoy. And then you got to figure out, well, what do I enjoy? And I promise you, that is hard for most Christians. Because you're taught so often that you can't enjoy anything. And if you look at most Christians, they are. Matter.
The frozen chosen.
Yeah, the frozen chosen, that's right. Yeah. And so you got to work sometimes just to find out what do you enjoy doing? What do you, And that's times like this, renewal, when you come away. Maybe ask somebody, what do you do for fun? And different person. See, my wife has a hard time having fun because she's so task-oriented. She's just so task-oriented. And so that's one reason God gave, her, I go with her, because, I teach her how to have fun, teach her how to do that. And so you just got to work it. You got to find the ways to do that, because I promise you, if you don't, not only will you be miserable, you'll make everybody miserable around you. And that's why, a lot of churches aren't going there because they think you come to church with me and they're thinking, what? I want to be like you. You hate life. I don't go to you. So, gotta find those rewards. And if you get guilt about that, just read what Jesus did. I mean, don't listen to what church people tell you. Just actually read the Bible. Find out what he did. He had a lot of fun. Okay. Any other questions? Boy, ready? Yes.
I have a problem warning myself for figuring it out. So I really don't care to exercise. So what I do sometimes is allow myself to watch TV only on my TV.
See, that works. See, that's Grandma's rule. Grandma's rule is if you're gonna get apple pie, you have to first do your homework. You do it together. This is because the nurse suit does not want to exercise. I promise you. So whatever rewards that nurse suit, whatever lets it work, do it. I do the elliptical. Sometimes I run. Most of the time I do the elliptical. I do the same thing. I watch something on television that I like to watch. Because now it's amazing the technology we have today. I mean, you can just any program you want to watch, you can watch it while you do the elliptical. And remember, your mind can only think about what? One thing. So what is she thinking about when she's doing exercise? She's thinking about whatever show you watch. She's thinking about I'm thinking about Jeter playing shortstop for the Yankees. If I'm watching a Yankee game, on TV, I'm not thinking about I'm going to do this exercise. And what happens? I just 35 minutes. Oh, what's that done? What's that done? And if you're just exercising for 35 minutes, the one thought in your mind is what? I hate this. I hate this. And then your reward comes. Your reward comes when? Finished. So then you say, well, I only feel good when I'm not exercising. So your body gets conditioned just the opposite. Good kind of thing. So you've got to you've got to trick your body. That's the key. It's like, when I tell my body this, I say this. I say, like yesterday morning, I said, I got a long day today. You need to do the elliptical really early. You know, and so I told my body right after breakfast, let's go do the elliptical. And the body said, let's don't do it today. And I told the body, I said, well, you know, we've got something you can watch on TV. Let's go up there and watch this show, and let's do the elliptical. I said, let's don't do it today. I just don't feel like it. So what I finally had to tell the body was this: let's just do it for 5 minutes, okay? Just do it for 5 minutes. And then we'll quit, because you know, you're right, I just need to get the heart pumping, go later to this morning, you know, get through the day, so just do it for 5 minutes. And the body said, okay. The body said, okay, I did 5 minutes. So I got up there and I did 5 minutes, but then I had the TV going, then I had the show on, and so I told the body, hey, it's not too bad, is it? Can you do 5 more? Yeah, I guess so. And so I did 35, but I couldn't just go do it. See, that's what we're talking about, those rewards and the steps. Now sometimes in the earth suit, I say, let's go do it, we're going to watch so-and-so, let's go do it, it'll go. Sometimes it won't. And you can't count on your stinking body either, by the way. Because it's how it feels. See? So you're going to, in some days the body just feels better, and other days it feels. You know? Here's the key though: unsuccessful people let the feelings control what they do. They don't have a plan, they don't have a way, rewards. This is the way it works. They just let it happen. Something. See, like getting out of the bed. I've never really felt like getting out of bed. I don't think. You know, but I get out because I know I got stuff I got to do. So, successful people manage their own morale. Unsuccessful people let other things control their morale. And you know those people. They're always. You can just listen to them talk. They will tell you why they're not successful, why they're miserable. You know, it's their favorite hymn at church would be, I love to tell the story, and they tell it over and over again of why they're miserable. And see, these people, not only do they talk about it all the time, this is what they pray about. They pray about it all the time. It's their constant. There can be only one thought in your mind. That's what their thought is in their mind. It's, God, could you do this? God, do this. Then they get you to pray. Could you pray for this? You know, they want magic. You know, they don't want a plan. They want magic. Somehow God intervened. You know, and a lot of times it's because they haven't stepped outside of themselves. See, if life's just about you, then listen to your prayers, because the prayers be all about you too. You know, of course, in Jesus' name, you know, amen. You know, because you can get very narcissistic praying and reading the Bible, because it can just be all about you all the time. So that's why you got to live life, because that's what all the other people are. You know, so you got to decide. This is what I'm going to do. So some of your rewards may be in terms of reaching out to other people and then rewarding yourself for doing it. Just have some kind of plan. If you don't, see, in my wallet, I have $100 bill. I actually have a couple of them. One of them is for somebody, if I run across somebody who needs a $100 bill. I got a plan. I know. And it's amazing how many people God will put in your life if you know this person needs a $100 bill. So it may be a cab driver. It may be somebody somewhere, you know. The plan is this, though. It's never at church. I never give people money at church. It's out there. It's out there. Whether it's you know. So I have a $100 bill on one side, $100 bill on the other. One side of the $100 bill is for me. Something comes up, I'm ready. You know, whatever, you know, I need that. You know. But the other is for somebody else. If something comes up, I know, you know, this is what I do. So you got to plan to help people. You got to plan to be successful. You got to plan that. And once you do it, it becomes you. You know, it just becomes you. It's just what you do. I just do that. That's what I do. You know, I understand it. And and now my grandkids have to make sure they don't get into my wallet. Where does Papa put the $100 bill? Because they've seen me give a $100 bill to somebody, and then where does that come from? You know, why did you do that? It's a great teaching lesson for your grandkids when they see, you know, like at Christmas, we always make sure at Christmas, because of, you know, just family and all that kind of stuff, that if the family goes out to eat at a restaurant, that probably the waiter that does that is going to get the $100 bill. You know, because they're working, it's Christmas holiday and that kind of thing. So my grandkids pretty much know that. And you know how kids are, they get they just don't have any people skills, so they'll look at the waitress that comes and says, well, you gonna have a good skill. Waitress says, well, she's wrong. Okay, let's, any questions, any more questions? I'm gonna wrap up a few things here. Anything else? Yes.
Okay, so I used to be a very goal-oriented, competitive person. And then I came to a point in my life where I didn't always meet those goals. And so now it's kind of like I set a goal, and then if I don't meet it, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't meet it, oh, well. How do you get back to that place where you say, I want to be, I want to be competitive again, I want to reach those goals again, and make sure you reach them and not just be okay with completing.
Well, I think that's where you got to put faith involved. I think you got to believe that you were put here to be the very best person God wants you to be, 10 times better. And so what does God really want you to accomplish in the world? What does God see you doing? And I think those goals have to relate about how can I help other people in doing it. For example, I knew that I had to get a doctorate degree in psychology. That was the ticket I needed in order for God to use me to help thousands of people. And so that was a very hard process, but all during that process I needed, one day that's the ultimate goal. And so I think you have to have an ultimate goal that, I'm God's little girl, this is what I'm going to do, but these are the steps in order to do that. And I think you have to have enough people. It sounds like what you're lacking is encouragement from other people around you who encourage you when you reach those goals to say, man, you're really doing great, you're really becoming the person God wanted you to be. Because if you can't do it yourself, if you have a hard time, then that's probably the answer is that you got to have other people around you that do that. Are you married? Or I think you tell your husband, I get discouraged when I don't reach these goals or whatever. And if he's most men are pretty much worthless, but he can help in some ways. But sometimes you need a female in order. Men just don't have the right people skills many times in order to encourage. They would like to. They're just men. They grew up competing. King captured the flag, could have held one serious game to the other guy. And so they're not used to encouraging. They're just not. They're not very good at that. And so it may be that you need your partner too, but you may need somebody else in order to do that. I have two male friends that are probably my best friends, and that we call each other, we encourage each other. My wife is a big encouragement. There's something about another male, because men just they just put it in your face. I mean, they don't they don't think they're around. But I think you probably need some females to kind of get you encouraged. And Premier set up for that. You're down line and all those people that help you do that. Yeah.
So if you are that accountability partner for somebody and they don't meet a goal that they set for themselves, what's your best way to help them, to keep encouraging them? Do you reset that same goal and say, okay, let's go at it a different way, or do you try to go at it different?
Yeah, you have to decide, was it too unrealistic? Did we set it too high? If we set it too high, let's lower it. Did we have the wrong reward? Did we figure out, let's try it this way, another reward. And also realize that, hey, although we didn't do that, we've still made a lot of progress in that we've tried it. We've learned something here. And learning something is a war. I mean, we figured it out. I mean, like they said to Edison, with 1,000, he realized 999 out of it, he learned it because he knew that didn't work until boom, he get to work. Just like me with my 9 or 10 or 19 rejections before I get to one, we had to figure out how to do that. And so they're learning, even though they didn't get successful, we still made progress here. We just didn't make the progress we thought we were going to make. Let's figure out now how we can make the progress that we want to make. And many times, a lot of times people do set their goals too high. And the key to remember is this. Many people set a power goal and they think it's a process goal. You see, like for Premier, you think, well, I'm going to have 3 home shows next month. That's a power goal. I mean, you can't control that. And if you set that as your goal and you don't make it, it may be that you did better in terms of people skills and connecting with people that month than you did the month before when you actually did 3, And so your body gets messed up because you're not rewarding the things that need to be rewarded. And so find out what the process goal is, not what the power goal is, and then reward that. Because remember, the process goals you have total control over. So, you know, you can do that, and then you can get the reward. And eventually it will affect this, but that you work on those process goals. That people get discouraged with the power goals. You pray about those. You don't set rewards for those. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let me just give you this little here at the end. Here's how you hope, H-O-P-E. I do this for most of the groups, and I'll go back. If you want to share hope with people, H stands for habits. Here's what Aristotle said. Aristotle is a great guy, smart guy, a dead guy. Remember, we all die. He's still dead. Doesn't matter how smart you are, you're going to die. Okay, I want to make sure you understand that. Life's short. Enjoy it. Okay, so Aristotle said this: you are what you repeatedly do. Success, therefore, is not an event. Success is a habit. Okay? So habits are crucial. That's what I've been talking about the whole morning. What have you set? What are your habits now? And if those aren't good habits, what can you reward yourself enough that you have these good habits? Because you have to have the appropriate behavior in the right direction for a long period of time to be successful. Remember, the world promises short-term success, short-term pleasure, bad consequences. God promises, in a sense, bad stuff at the first, but then long-term pleasure, long-term consequences. Your discipline becomes your delight, you see. But you have to habit is that, in a sense, determination in the same direction for a long period of time. So you've got to have enough rewards for these people to keep them doing that for a long period of time. So your downline or whoever people you're working with, you've got to talk about their habits. Aristotle, the dead guy? He said that you are what you repeatedly do. Success, therefore, is not an event. Success is a habit. It's a habit. Okay. O stands for overlook. And I got a whole seminar about people that we could do, but we won't have time to go into it. But most people get discouraged, and most people don't have good people skills or good relationships with people because they don't overlook stuff that does not matter. You know, it's just stuff. I mean, when I was a psychologist, it's amazing to me how many people would pay good money to come to see me to fight over stuff that didn't matter. It didn't matter. Think about it this way. If you're a believer in Christ, everything you've ever done or will do has been overlooked, will be overlooked by God the Father. Everything's been overlooked. All He asks is you to overlook the things in other people's lives. See, you're not to be, remember, you're not God. You resigned real early this morning. Remember when you resigned? You're not God. You're not general manager anyway. Just learn to overlook. V stands for value. And value. Oh, hope. I was doing love. L-O-V-E. I speak too many times. I'm doing love tomorrow. See, it's L-O-V-E, but it's H-O-V-C. I got confused. I have all these hooks in my mind, all these words. You don't believe how many words are in my mind, all these hooks. So love would be good, but we'll do that another time. P, of course, you know what that is already. We talked about it. That's your plan. That's your plan. Now, I don't have time to go into it, but you also have to have a prayer, and you also have to have a power. In other words, every day you should have a little, remember it's a short prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, which means He's in heaven, you're not. Hallowed be thy name, which means He's an awesome God. He's got a better view than you got. If you watch a football game, everybody's talking to a guy who's got a better view. God has a better view. Then you say, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, you're awesome, I'm not. Then we talk about, as I mentioned before, let His will be done on earth that it is in heaven. If you can figure out how to do God's will on earth, you'll have a little bit of heaven on earth. Okay? That's the principles at work in this life. So you have a prayer, and your prayer is, I'm going to do what God wants me to do. It's God in me. You know, that's the power. It comes from. I really believe I'm God's little boy. When I do things, I'm doing it for God's glory. And so once you have that power, that will keep you going even when the other things aren't working. Because in a sense, it doesn't matter if it works or not if you're doing it for God. Because He's going to reward. He's the one that takes care of the circumstance. You don't know what has to fail in order for Him to succeed with somebody else. You don't know that. So He is God, you're not. And so once you understand that, you can release that a little bit. And then hope is just encouragement. Jesus was the greatest encourager ever lived. Work on figuring out how to encourage people. It's the greatest motivator. See, Jesus, even the lady caught in adultery, the very act of adultery, Jesus encouraged her. He said, neither do I condemn you, go and sin no more. I think that lady's life totally changed because somebody encouraged her. Somebody believed in her. If you find a church, find an encouraging church. Encouraging churches will blossom. Why? Because people are, well, let me just ask you, how many of you get too much encouragement? You're sick of it. You get so much of it. Everywhere you go, people clap for you, tell you how wonderful you are. Your kids carry around pictures of you in their wall. You mean that doesn't happen? We all need encouragement. We're all need encouragement. And then, let me close with this. There was a kid, he was like the three, wandered off one day. Nobody could find him. Matter of fact, they realized nobody knows where he is. They called out to all the search people, they couldn't find him. It was winter up north, and they knew they got to find him before nightfall, and didn't find him. Next day, they called other people, they didn't find him. Finally, one lady said, look, the kid's only 3, he can't be far. We're missing him. Somehow we're missing him. So let's join hands today. Join hands and make huge sweeps. Come to the tree, let go, and hold on. Said somehow we're missing this kid. So that's what they did. They all joined hands. They made these huge sweeps, and eventually they found a little boy. It was too late. That lifeless body was taken by those workers to the mother, and they placed it in the mother's arms, and the mother looked at all those workers. Here's what she said. Why didn't you join hands sooner? Why didn't you join hands sooner? I believe Premier is a company where you join hands and you look for people in the ditch. You find a way to change people's lives. I've seen it happen hundreds of times in Premier. That's what you do. It's a company that's where you join hands with other people and find people in the ditch. Once you understand that, that's the hope the world needs. That's what it's looking for. We have that. You're a dealer in hope. Go out there and deal something, okay? God bless you.